Hey, what's going on, guys? This week we're getting into a Ken Carson type beat. I'm gonna show you how to like make simple melodies, how to build that into a Ken Carson rage opium kind of beat. Uh, yeah, so we'll get right into this thing. This is just one of the beats I released from this week. If you want to check it out, I'll include it in the description. Maybe up there, maybe up there. I don't know. I'll put it somewhere for you guys to find it though. But in this, I'll just go through each instrument that I have, uh, all of the stuff that I've like made. Sorry, that was a little bit of a early quick. Um, but like I'll go through each instrument, the different like sounds, why I picked the sounds, why does it sound like an opium beat, why does it sound like a Ken Carson type beat, why does it sound like a Destroy Lonely kind of beat? Like what are the elements that make that? So I'll get like right into it and let's start this thing. Hey. So how I started off this thing was just with this basic chord progression. We're in the key of F minor, and I just do F down to C, down to A flat, down to B, D, F. I'm sorry. And with all of that in mind, basically what I'm doing here is just following a like descending one, then we're going up on the last one. So it's just one. I believe this is five. Yep, five. So one, five, 4 to 6. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So so just F, C, A, B. So let's see, because it would go F to F. So, or, okay. Sorry, math is just not mathing for me today. So one, two, we go from F. So 1, 5, 3, 4. 1, 5, 3, 4. And the reason I did this pattern, now that I've like kind of gotten into it, it just sounded good to me. I like the descending tones to like kind of like build up tension and like getting it resolved with a darker thing makes it better. And I did the opposite on the other side. So I just went down one more, so down to 2 to make it dissonant on the first one. And it's just because it made it more dark and then resolving it up made it a little bit brighter, but it's still very dark tones and make it when you have dissonance, it makes it sound aggressive. Then I layered those chords with the exact same pattern, but just using an arpeggio. So it's just and this is just a Dream Art from Tau No LX. It's a really nice like analog sounding synthesizer. It's the same thing. This was just a pad that came from the other one. These are just default ones that come with it too. It's not like the complicated ones. They're just chords, stacked chords with varying velocities, just kind of layered up, going after it. And that's basically what this is. It just kind of just moves along, and it's yeah, it's not anything that's too complicated. But we keep that progression. We layer the arpeggio on it just to give it a little bit more life, and it's like it makes it have movement without doing anything. And we're just kind of being lazy with this. We're just doing lazy chords. Didn't really have to do a lot of work for them. But then we add, like, this is where it gets like really exciting, right? We add this lead. And this just comes from Omnisphere, but we did a lot of like interesting stuff with it. Um, so initially the lead just sounds like this, right? It's just a digitalized square lead from like one of the stock plugins of Omnisphere, if you have that. And then we used Destructor. I believe this preset is just like a typical distortion, and we just messed around with it to kind of like crush the sound and then force it into like a certain frequency range. Now, with all of Rage Beats, you always want to use like a very bouncy, moving along lead. You want it to sound like it's in the realm of it, but you want it to glide and move around a lot still. You want it like still be like in the realm of your bass chords. So like I started with the bass notes on this, but I'm using notes that aren't really within it, like because E's not really in that chord progression. Um, but it ends up working out real nice because it adds like that extra flavor. Like you kind of like want to do like just like half step movements. So like half step movement, like if I'm like snapping to scale, right? It would be from F to here down to here. Like basically like going from like one step up for each one. Or like you don't really ever like want to do more than like a whole step. And it's like one of those things that it's like unless you're doing like a roll like I've done here, you really just kind of want to like if you like make small movements make a lot of big movement in the whole. Because you're making it glide and like making it its own thing over time, and it's just kind of like a sick thing to do. Um, then I like layered that with another synth. It's just a vocal, like one of these, and then bounced it with the 808s, right? And it's just like I added that for like a little texturizing. So like when we're with the melodies, you kind of get like the same feel for a lot. See how that like builds like that layer right there just adds like a little bit of texture. That adds like so much texture to it, just that little piece. Now we get into the drums of this. I'll just mute everything else. Oh wait, no, let's just do that. Okay, so for the drums. So I layered my open hats with the kicks and the 808s just to give it that extra flair. Like if I didn't have the crash there. Because it like gets a little air into the 808s, like it's pumping, And the 808s are really aggressive in their sound, right? And if you didn't notice, it matches like what the lead is doing. I thought that was a good way to kind of get that opium sound, that uh, Ken Carson sound, that rage kind of sound, because like you want like your 808s to be aggressive and like really like upbeat, and like you really want to keep the tempo at the higher pace. So like 161 is where I'm at, but like you could be like anywhere from like 157 all the way up to like the 170s really, because it's like really like pushing the pace, and you want to be able to give those fast flows like. And then like with the aggressive drums and how you're doing your rolls, you want to like make sure you're like, at least in this case, like what I like to do is put the rolls at the end just to like have it be like the accent part, because like if you're doing like quick bars, that roll can just come in at the end and then like let the artist, like when they have empty space, they can put their ad libs there, or that like, you know, the rolls are already there. And so like they can like, you can be minimalistic for the artist so they don't have the beat just hits for them, and creating that like little bit of open space. Um, Clap just hits on like every offbeat as it does in most tracks. The snare that I've done here, if you want to copy that pattern, go right ahead. It's just pattern. It's like pretty standard, really, like in most of my beats. It's like with the hi-hats and a kick. So yeah, you kind of get the vibe. Um, so like I said, I always like to start like my like hooks with a crash too. Um, I do that just because like I think that sound is particularly like always good to like, so you know like which part you're in. I mean like you'd know which one you're in based on like how many sounds are there. But I just really feel like it's a sick way to kind of do that. It's just like, oh, I only have my crashes in here, or I'm like using the crash to build into like a transition period. I think that's like always like a good way to use a crash. But like basically like keeping your drums like aggressive and like pushing the pace of the song is always important with these kind of beats. And then when you're doing like the dark melodies on top of that, that's really what brings it all together. And like in terms of like structuring for the beat, I mean, really what you want to do is just take pieces out here and there. And like when you're playing around with it, just use your ear. I mean, like your ear will tell you this, that like, okay, I need to like maybe like move this part here, move this part here. Thing is that like I usually like, at least with me, when I'm working with an artist, I really like getting their input, how they want the beat to kind of move. Because like when I'm like doing my own stuff, I just like moving the beat around wherever it sounds right. In the moment after I hit the bar, I like hearing everything there and then taking the pieces out just to like you know, punch like put the emphasis as I'm creating the song. You know, like when you're selling beats and you're putting stuff out there, it's good to just like build the thing out. But like with me personally, like whenever I'm doing a custom thing, I just like to build it with the artist. That's just a little secret between you and me, though. But like, other than that, that's really all there is to these kind of beats. Just basics. Do a basic pad. Do an arp to layer it. Put a crazy lead in there, and then make your drums just really hit. Layer the 808 with the lead, and to make the lead more aggressive sounding, add Destructor to it. I believe this is just one of the default presets. I think it's just subtle. Yeah, it's just subtle, and then I like filtered the cutoff a little bit more just to make it more aggressive. Because it was like that, and now it's like this. Just slightly toned down the aggressiveness, you know? But just because it didn't sound quite right to me in my ear. But like with the mixing, what I always do, I always put like just an EQ to clear out the pieces, add extra flair to it. Grabbed my favorite compressor from my 808 just to really punch it through. It's a CLA 2A. And because like I really boosted the bass. So like when I boosted the bass, like when I just had the original sound, right? It wasn't that good. Then I added the bass in it to really make it sound more deep and aggressive. And then with the compressor, I was able to like raise it. And generally with my like peak reduction, I don't like slamming it like some people do. I like getting it like right around just under -3 for all of my compression. That's with my vocals. That's with like everything that I ever do. I just like letting it be in that -3 range makes it sound like more natural, more cool with the mixing side of things. And then just panning like a couple of your drums to the left and right can like add room for the space that you need, you know? Just to put the space that you need in the track. Uh, so you can push sounds to different spots in the ear, this way, this way, this way, this way, you know? But like panning things helps, but really follow your ear. And for me, like I don't really always talk about my mastering process, but if you guys want to know a little trade secret here, I'll drop this knowledge on you. Um, so the way I like to mix is to like never let my track go over -3, or like kind of like hover around this -3 dB range, at least for my mastering. Then I put like a limiter in there just to, limit the like initial wave so it doesn't like clip. Then I put like like a EQ here to like cut off the higher and lower frequencies from the 18K to 20 hertz. Then I put an imager in there so it kind of forces it into like the anti-phase things aren't an issue. Then I put in the mastering here, which just puts it at the threshold, puts it at the ceiling. Um, just put the -6 there because then that's like really where you're like, that's really where your beat will like kind of sit in the mix anyways. Because like when they're recording vocals like at -9 or -6, your beat will still cut over the top, but then it's just like it's giving it that sweet spot. You can like let your ceiling go wherever you want it to go. But like for me, I like have it at -5 so it's loud, like when you're listening to it on YouTube. And then I use this Paz analyzer to kind of like view where I'm at, and that's how I view RMS. Um, that's mostly what I use it for. That anti-phase thing that's on there, it's not always right, in my opinion, but you always got to listen for that because it'll just sound garbled in your mix a little bit. Um, but to get back to the point, thank you for watching this video. Uh, really, main things to remember when you're making an opium are Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, Playboi Carti, Rage, Yeat kind of beats. Do a simple chord progression. You don't got to make it complicated. You can literally just play the bass notes and stack notes on top. Then, and like stack notes on top, I mean, like if you're snapped to the scale like this, like you just hit this note at the top, just drag it up like 2 notes each time. So like you'll skip a note every single time to make your chord, and it's pretty easy to do that. Um, you can just do that, and then like if you just draw a pattern like descending or otherwise, you can just make simple chords like that. Less is more when you're like going down with the chords, and like doing inversions is pretty good too. Like and then layering that chord progression with an ARP, making like a very hardcore kind of lead and just like follow the notes, do half steps, leave space for the artist to kind of like do their thing on top of that, and then just add like a little texture in there, like I did with the vocal thing. But that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you guys are leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button, hitting that noti bell, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time with another video. So peace, God bless. You have a great rest of your day.